I have talked about hair school. I have talked about going to a predominantly white hair school, what I learned about natural hair, what I haven't learned about natural hair, 10 years of servicing natural hair women. I have talked about black women accepting their hair or not accepting their hair. The fact that black women really, I'm going to put this statement out and say it for the people in the back. Okay, so the clients that I serve, they love their natural hair. They are okay with how their hair grows out. But the world that we live in, the society, the country that we live in, natural hair is just now like widely accepted. We're just now in commercials and things of that nature, right? So I have dedicated the past 10 years to teach women that how your hair grows out your scalp is okay. And that your curl may not look like my curl. It's going to look like your curl, okay? It's not going to look like my curl. It's going to look like your curl. And your curl, when I say your curl, it's for everyone. Your curl is your curl. Your curl is your curl. And so, unfortunately, the general consensus, even though I serve a small population of women, when I go to hair shows like Bronner Brothers, or when I walk down the street, or when I'm in the mall and I look around and everyone is wearing wigs, it goes to show that over 50%, over 50% is the majority, right? We don't like our hair. We don't feel comfortable and confident. We don't feel like baddies with natural hair. Just to break it down into 2024 terms. Are you a baddie with a puff? Or are you a baddie with a 40-inch bust down? Why is 40-inch bust down a term? If I say 40-inch bust down, have you heard that before? You ain't heard 30-inch bust down. You ain't heard 20-inch bust down. You heard a 40-inch bust down, which we can, give claim to the city girls in that culture, right? But have you ever heard about a baddie with a puff, with afro puffs, with kinky curly hair, with tight curly hair, with 4C hair? We never heard about that, right? Welcome. If you're new here, for the people who are watching, I'm Jamila Evans. I am a licensed cosmetologist. I have been licensed for the past 10 years. I actually dropped out of my university. I was studying for accounting. I did get my accounting degree, but I dropped out for a small period of time to go to hair school, right? No. The answer is no. You ain't never heard of a baddie with a puff. Okay? Ice Spice. Roll my eyes. Ice Spice is probably the first person who came out with a roller set that went famous for curly hair. Okay, the only other curly hair person that come to mind to me is Annie, Shirley Temple. What other curls? Shaka Khan. Okay, SZA is probably the first person who came out. I'm trying to think. Big puffy hair, Leela James, but Leela James isn't popular, right? Mainstream, we looking at Janet Jackson, but Janet Jackson had the kinky curly, right? She had the braided hair, like the yaki straight. She didn't have. Now mind you, my curls are loose in comparison to other people's curls. I still also, if y'all are new here, I still got the Olaplex treatment on my hair. I need to rinse it out. It's really flaky. I have to see how it feels after I wash it, but my top lip says how I feel. I'm indifferent, but my top lip is really giving what I feel about the Olaplex. Okay. So, being that I came on here and I've been talking for 13 minutes and had no audio, I just wanted to kind of express some things that were on my heart that I have been experiencing in the salon, in this industry, or seeing, like things that I've noticed. I have so many people who stop me and see my hair and they be like, "Oh, I love your hair. I would be natural if your hair would. I would wear my hair if my hair, or your hair this, your hair that, my hair don't." Y'all, there is a wasp on my table. There's a wasp on my table. I hate insects with a passion. And people tell you don't act scared and to not be fearful, but baby, a stinger, I'm gonna move every time. I'm gonna act crazy every time. It found its own way. It moved away. But wow. Okay. So back to the original schedule. Before I realized that my audio wasn't going, I said that I went to hair school, and there was 3 hair schools that I could go to in my city. I could either go to Miller Mine. Some people know what Miller Mine is. I could go to the community college here, which is called Fayetteville Tech, or I could go to Paul Mitchell. And when I went to Paul Mitchell, I went to Paul Mitchell to learn about coloring and cutting. Okay, I wanted to be a cutter. When I tell you I wanted to get paid, and at the time $50 for a cut sounded crazy, I wanted to get paid over $100 just to cut. Okay, I wanted to have a signature cut, a sought after cut. So you got to talk about the Rizzo cut, you talk about the diva curl cut, you talk about the Cabo cut. Okay, a cut. I wanted to name a cut after me. Or I wanted to color hair to the guys. Okay, I'm talking about guy tang style. I wanted to be like hair hair color killer. Okay, color. Well, I got into the industry here in Fayetteville. No one was doing natural hair. The salon I worked with veterans. Okay, I worked with people who were in their 40s, going into their 50s, and none of them 10 years ago was like natural hair is for me. They was like, oh yeah, that new girl, that rookie, that 20-year-old girl, she do natural hair. She got the patience, she got the energy. And through servicing these people who no one else in the salon wanted to service, I realized that there really was a gap. There really was a hole. There was a portion of women who looked like me, brown, curly hair, maybe curls tighter than mine, that were not being serviced. And then I started to hear how they thought about their hair, or things they had been taught, the miseducation, if you will. And so then I realized that education was necessary, that what I knew about hair, that they needed to know about hair, so they could understand how to style and listen to their hair, so that they could, one moment, y'all, so they could reach their hair goals, so they could have the best hair that they desired, so they could get their hair goals. And so it was like the same client over and over and over again: dryness, itchy, flaky scalp, breakage, postpartum edges, no edges, alopecia, traction alopecia. Do y'all know that traction alopecia, there's a lot of different types of alopecia. There's over a dozen types of alopecia, if I'm not mistaken. Traction alopecia is heavily populated, or heavily affects Black women. It's almost like a subcategory for just specifically Black women, or women who like to wear ponytails or weaves or braids or get relaxers. Black, 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 black. Okay? And so it's self-inflicted. Traction alopecia is probably one of the saddest things to see in real life, because at this point it's normal. We wear wigs because we think they bad, like you think you a baddie with a wig. I was saying earlier, I don't know if the sound was on or off, but a 40-inch bust down is a baddie. And all it's doing is giving you traction alopecia, pushing your hairline back. This is no shade or tea to the chief editor at Ebony. I think Ebony or Essence, one of those magazines. We've all seen this woman, okay? I grew up watching this woman in the magazines. I think it's Essence. It could be Ebony. I think it's Essence, though. She's a very beautiful woman. She reminds me of like Iman and Naomi Campbell mixed together. She used to wear braids. She gives you Stevie Wonder vibes. And I'm not talking about old girl. I'm not talking about her. I'm just remembering my childhood and watching this woman's hairline, just like Stevie Wonder's hairline, continuously move back. Okay? They chose that hairstyle. They chose to continue to, y'all, this wasp is sending me. They chose to not see the pattern, see what was going on with their hairline, and continue to wear a style that made it where now it's gone. For lack of better words, it's gone. And so if someone had to say, hey, I know you like braids. I know this style works for you. I know this is your signature style, but if you keep on doing this, then you will have permanent hair loss. I wonder if someone broke it down and said it like that, if they would continue to have done that style, you know? So, this is a rant-ish. I just wanted to come on and share some thoughts with you all. I shared a lot before I realized my audio wasn't good. You live and you learn. I can never get my audio right on YouTube. The thing is that I always got my phone connected to something Bluetooth wise, whether it be my headphones or my microphone or something like that. So it just is what it is. But if you're new here, welcome. I'm Jamila Evans. I am very passionate, as you can tell, about hair care. Doesn't matter what kind of hair. I just so happen to have landed on curly hair care because I wear my hair curly. It was not my intention. It literally was God was just like, you was talking about how our hair grows. How our hair grows. Oh, before I realized my audio wasn't working, our hair literally is curly. And I'm going to come back around to men with beards. Thank you. Do y'all know I have ADHD? Elvira, no. Thank you, girl. Okay, so really quick education lesson, and I'll come back around to what I was speaking about just now. Education. From what I have learned, from what I know, you know how you get a cowlick in the middle of your head? Okay, so it's easier to see in men's haircut, right? Men's hair, regular hair is in the direction, right? We tell men who have waves to push their front hair this way, push their side hair this way, push the back hair this way, right? But in the center, there's a swirl, right? That swirl, and just similar to men who have beards, black men who have beards, they get ingrown hairs a lot. And it's because their hair is curly, okay? The hair is, when they cut it below the surface, when it grows back in, it's not breaking the skin, it's curling underneath and into the skin, and then it burrows, if you will. That is happening because of the shape of the opening the hair comes out of. Y'all, I really hate wasps, and they over here just flying like crazy. So if you have a perfectly round opening for your out of your scalp where your follicle is, if your hair is coming out of a perfectly round circle, it's going to be straight. The more slanted the circle is, or the eye, so think of it like an eye. If your eye is wide open, you're going to have straight hair. The more slanted and squinted, the tighter the circle is, the tighter the curl is going to be. Hey. And so it's very similar in remnant to using a scissor. I know it's not a scissor and a ribbon. I know it's not a ribbon. Okay. You know how you can take a ribbon and take a scissor up the side of it and make it curly? The tighter that you squeeze that ribbon and push that scissor up against that ribbon, it makes the ribbon curlier, right? The same thing is going for that very tightly closed opening of follicle, or a wide circle opening of hair. Either the hair is going to be perfectly round or some variation of curl, all the way down to tightly curled. The tighter the curl the hair is pushing out, the curlier it's going to be, which is very similar to the cowlick. So you'll find that the hairs in the cowlick usually are curlier, or the crown of your head is a different situation, okay? It needs more love, needs more product, needs more patience, tangles more. You hate it, for lack of a better word. Some people really hate dealing with the middle of their hair. If you have locks, you find that your locks don't really lock around the edges. They're very soft. They don't want to stay in around the edges. But in the center, their hair locked up immediately. It's because it's tighter there. Okay, it's more prone to locking. It's more prone to tangles, right? And so, there's just a really huge miseducation. And my job, where I come at from it, is taking what I've learned, because I'm like a hair nerd, making it understandable for the regular woman. So when I say a scissor and a ribbon, you have made a birthday present and took in a scissor and put a ribbon on it and curled it, so you get it, right? Or you have realized that there's a cowlick, or you understand the center of your hair is tighter. So I always want to relate something back that I know hair-wise to something that makes sense. For instance, water washing. What is water washing? Why is it step 0? Okay, we got step 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. What is step 0? Step 0 is water washing. Why do we water wash? What is it? Would you wash plates dry? You wouldn't wash plates or dirty dishes without any water, right? So if we don't take the time to properly water wash, rinse our hair, if you will. Oh, I can tell you about edge control. One moment. I'll finish up on water washing. But if you would not wash dry plates, or you know that plates that don't have no water on them won't be clean, why do you expect for your hair to be clean? Why aren't you leading with washing? You literally can rinse off a whole layer of product before you hit shampoo with water, right? Elvira asked, how do you feel about edge control? I feel a few ways about edge control. So edge control is the product, or edge control as the maintenance of our edges. The product is one thing, and what it does for our hair is one thing, but why do we feel the need to control our edges? Okay, so in everything that we do for styling our hair, and I'd hate to get too deep or too like, it's not that serious. Sometimes it is serious, sometimes it is psychological, sometimes it is deeper than hair, and then sometimes I'm just talking as a hairstylist who on surface. Sometimes I'm like up here like, oh yeah girl, lay them edges, okay, because and then other times I'm like, but sis, do your edges really need to be controlled? You know what I mean? Like, is it that, what if your edges ain't controlled? How you gonna feel if your edges ain't laid? Okay, so that's the conversation right there. And then as far as the product is concerned, let's talk about the product. Let's keep it simple. A lot of edge controls have a lot of alcohol in them. Good afternoon. A lot of edge controls have a lot of alcohol in them. One moment. Alcohol, in a general sense, is not the best for hair. Okay, I would never recommend anyone put rubbing alcohol directly on their hair. So when people use alcohol to remove their wigs and stuff, you have to be careful with that. Now, there are some alcohols that are in products that are meant, they serve a purpose, right? They will help aid getting other ingredients or other parts of the product into the hair. So there are different types of alcohol, right? The continuous use of edge control can be detrimental for your edges and for your scalp. If you like edge control, if you like a certain edge control that I don't recommend, my number one recommendation is to wash it off regularly. Do not wait to wash day, to shampoo day, to wash your whole hair, to wash your hairline. You can wash your hairline when you wash your face. Wash your face, wash your hairline. Okay? So whatever, if it's gentle enough for your face, why wouldn't it be gentle enough for your hair? It may not be formulated for your hair, but your hairline needs to be clean. Your scalp needs to be clean. You don't want these pores submerged and smothered. Okay, so if you think that you're losing your edges or that your hairline is moving back, wash your hairline more often. Make sure that you're not breaking your hairline, because one moment, got to be is plaster, for lack of better words. Once you set your edges, whether it be the spray or it be the gel, got to be gel or got to be glue gel, whatever the name of it is. I can't say I haven't used it, but if you're using that, understand that you need to re-wet that product. You can't go in and start recombing or rebrushing your edges. Additionally, I don't use edge brushes. Okay, I use combs to lay my edges, and I don't do them swirls and artwork and all kind of swoopy doops. I don't do that. To me, that's doing too much. It's not my style. It's not my brand. It's not what I recommend to anyone to do. If you young, all right, whatever, cool, have your fun. Because I was young at one point in time too. But if you are struggling with edges, if your edges are soft or fine, be delicate. Treat them like newborn babies. Treat them like lingerie in the wash machine. I like a comb for my edges. Okay, cool. A fine tooth comb is enough. A fine tooth comb will direct and a fine tooth comb is all you need. It's all you need, followed by your finger. Okay, fine tooth comb product, boom. I lay my right now. This is child. All I did with my hair this morning was take it out of this same scarf that I slept with or wrapped around my hair and made it a headband. Okay, there is no edge control. There is no nothing. Okay, if I was to like say I was trying to go somewhere and I wanted to look a little bit more put together, or if I was concerned about my appearance, I would re-dampen my hair. I would either spray my hair down or I would take water, like put my hand underneath the sink and go in and scrunch water into my hair so that it didn't look as dry. And then I would take gel. I use an aloe vera based gel. I would take it in my hands and I would apply it like this. Sometimes I do pump it onto my fingers and apply like edge control, and then I would just literally take and swoop and lay. This is all I'm doing. I'm not going over it multiple times. I'm using gel or edge control if my hair is straight, because I would not use gel. Gel is a wet product. I would not use gel on dry hair. Silk presses are a dry style. You don't want to put anything wet or creamy on those. So I'm not going to use a gel for edge control on a press. I hope that makes sense. So I use edge control when my hair is pressed, which is maybe once a quarter. And I'm just going to swoop that back with a fine tooth comb. That's enough. Edge control and other pomades such as like Shine and Jam, can make eczema, psoriasis, and dermatitis, seborrheic. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. It can make all of those things flare up. So you have to make sure that they don't agitate and make your eczema and other skin and scalp conditions worse. So that's something to be mindful of, Elvira. But yeah, y'all, I just wanted to come in real quick and share those few little thoughts and things. This was a much more complete live before I realized my audio was bad. If you're new here, welcome. What do you recommend for edges for a silk press, or do you use a hot comb? I do not use a hot comb. There's nothing wrong with a hot comb if someone is properly educated. Education is the thing. Oh, and I hate to say education. Educate. It's like people hear education, they be like, bloop. It's like the basics and knowledge and like just anything that's progressive. It just sounds like boring or nerdy or geeky. Like, so I hate using it. But if the person's properly educated on a hot comb, it's nothing wrong with it. No shade, no tea. For people who want to go back and forth between their curls and straight hair, a hot comb is too aggressive. Okay? Any heat honestly can be too aggressive. If you love your curls, you want to wear your curls, you have no intention you don't want no heat damage, a blow dryer or a hooded dryer is all you need to use. Okay? Anything more than that could damage your curl. As far as a hot comb is concerned, if you want to press beyond presses, use a hot comb. Okay, there's nothing wrong with it, but you also can extremely damage your hair with a hot comb. Okay, a lot of people are not testing a hot comb's temperature. If you're supposed to take your hot comb, or you can take your hot comb out of this oven or off of the stove if you're home. But if you're in a salon, I hope that they're using a Marcel stove, or little. It looks like this kind of round. It looks like a little sleeve, if you will. Put your hot comb in there, take it out, test it on paper. If you're burning paper, you will burn hair. If you're burning paper, you will burn hair. Okay, let that thing cool off. It shouldn't be smoking when you put it to the hair, and the hair shouldn't have a whole lot of product. You should not be going over. Some people use a hot comb just for the root. I don't use a hot comb. My clients, my market, who I service, they want to go back and forth between straight hair and curly hair. I'm going to press your hair to the point where it's almost not pressed. My presses will generally swell for the first time. I call it the training wheel press. Okay, hey, this press is your training wheel press. This press probably won't stay silky for too long. I'm giving you a clear Huxtable press. I'm giving you a nasty 90s press. Okay, that's the kind of presses that I give out, because when someone puts water to their hair, I need their hair to curl up like I never put heat to it. they kind of want to see their length. They want to stretch their hair out for a little bit. They're not wanting to be straight forever. So that's how I press hair personally. That's the kind of press I brand and I promote. Is it gonna be smooth and silky? Yes. But when you put water to it, is your curl gonna come back in every area? That's, if I don't do that, then I didn't personally. Texture didn't do their job. Jamila Evans didn't do her job as a licensed cosmetologist and a trusted advisor. Someone says, you're right. Can you explain exactly what exactly is bad about plastic gels like Wetline or Eco? What about the formulas make professionals hesitant? So I have never heard the term, to be, I'm always going to be honest with y'all. I'm always going to tell you what I do and don't know. And let me say this. I can say that and I can admit that because if I don't know it, I don't know it. It doesn't make me any less intelligent, and it doesn't make that what I'm saying about and what I know any less relevant. I can easily, if I don't know what a plastic gel is, I could easily go and look at the definition and boom, now I know what a plastic gel is. And I can put it into the context of the conversation, right? So I have never heard the term plastic gels. As far as Wetline and Eco Styler gel, I know that those are lower grade, if you will, less nourishing, less healthy gels is how I would label them. I use Eco professionally in the salon as a licensed professional for at least half of my career. Okay, so 5 years ago, there wasn't a whole slew of gels. Uncle Funky's Daughters and botanical gels and inner sense. Sometimes I be breaking words down like they ain't supposed to be working out. Those were not popular. They were not there. Wetline wasn't even really a gel like that. We use Fantasia Icy Fantasia, something of that nature. I never use it, so I don't know the name of it like that. Okay, but Eco was the girl, right? Eco was the holy grail. Everybody named Mama used Eco. Okay, we loved Eco. Let's not act like we did not love Eco. Let's not act like at one point in time we didn't love Blue Magic and Pink Oil Moisturizer. We love those products. They are nostalgic, right? So for at least half of my career, I used Eco in the salon because of what it did for the hair. Someone coming to me to clump their hair, y'all, I'm sorry. It's a wild. I'm trying to act normal. Okay, sorry. Y'all are getting real raw and uncut Jamila today. I'm gonna act crazy for a bug every time. Okay, not a fly, but a wasp, a spider, a hornet. Okay, Eco do what it need to do. So if I'm sticking my hair into a ponytail, I'm not using the gel that I use all over my head to stick my hair into a ponytail. If I need that thing to be in place, it is a styler gel. It is not a hair care gel. It's not a maintenance gel. It's not a loving gel. It is a styler. So once you have cared for, loved, nourished, maintained your hair, then you want to style your hair. It's the last component of your hair regimen. Okay, you want to put your hair in whatever style you want it in. Same thing goes for, so they're finalizing finishing products. Same thing for spritz, same thing for hairsprays, things of that nature. They're how you want your hair to be frozen in place. They're not, most of them are not good for your hair. But when you know that, you wash it out. You wash your hair routinely. And if that something is going on with your hair, then you don't continue to use them. If you realize they're having a negative experience, if you're having a negative experience with them, then you stop using them. So when it comes to plastic gels that you stated, or what I would call low grade gels, they are phenomenal as far as styling the hair. They do what they say they gonna do, right? But there are better alternatives. And if you're looking for something that's going to clump and have strong hold like Eco, but be more flexible and more beneficial to your hair, more nourishing, my recommendation is to use the green gel that I use on all my videos. I want you to go back and watch the video where I'm talking about the Dew products, and I'm doing like a wash and go. I'm not going to tell you because I want you to watch the video and get the full context of it, but it's a green gel by Curls, okay? I still love ego, right? Absolutely. Hi, Jamila. Do you recommend blowing out and pressing for a trim? Hey, Chisa. Thank you for asking. This is a hot topic. This is a controversial topic as well. And when it first started happening, I actually had to figure out how I feel about it, right? Because I do wet cuts. I do the majority. If you come to me and you're natural and you don't use heat on your hair and you don't press your hair, I will cut your hair wet, right? So you're so welcome. I hope that it was I hope it was good. I'm just literally going off of what I know and what I believe, and you know what I mean? So at the end of the day, I will always tell you to do your own research, and I'm going to come back to you, Chisa. I haven't forgotten. I'm always going to tell you to do your own research, and I'm always going to tell you to listen to your hair. Your hair is going to tell you what it do and don't like. It's going to be very evident. Do your hair feel good? Is your hair behaving? Is your hair breaking off? Is it popping? Is it snapping? Your hair don't like that. Don't do that no more. Okay? One moment. And so when it comes to how to cut natural hair, oh girl, this could be cut out of the video, and I probably will. Should you blow dry your hair to cut it? Should you press your hair to cut it? Or can you cut your hair in its curly state? Personally, I cut hair wet. I have been trained, I have been working with, I have seen enough curly hair to realize how I can cut the hair to be as even as possible without having to blow dry it. Blow drying and pressing the hair is going to give you a more accurate cut. That is 100% factual, okay? However, I have cut enough wet hair that when I go to blow dry it, I realize that my haircut is still even. That's because of how I take my time and systematically work around the head. Not everybody is versed. If you are not going to a curly hair professional or someone who genuinely cares or is curl conscious is the word I like to say, curl conscious, I would not recommend them to cut your hair curly or wet. I would recommend you to get your hair blow dried and cut, because that is the easiest way to work with curly hair and to get an even and thorough cut. It is the easiest, okay? But what I cut the hair twice. I'm going to cut the hair wet, and because I'm cutting the hair wet, if I have detangled the hair well and I am stretching the hair out and giving proper tension, I'm going to be able to make sure that the hair is even, okay? Once I style the hair in a wash and go, I am looking for the hair to shrink up and curl up how it's going to in each region. Different regions or different areas of the hair have different curls in them. Different curls are going to behave differently. Some will shrink up tight to the head, some will dangle and sway. So what I like to say is, and I try to say things how you can remember them, so you won't have a difference of a Michael Jackson curl or a Kunta Kinte curl. I know, Jamila, what? Why did you pick them? You knew what I was talking about. You seen a Michael Jackson curl and you seen a Kunta Kinte curl. Okay, so that's just how I talk. I don't mean nothing by it. Just take it and walk with it, right? So if a curl that is looser is dangling and it is falling out of the shape, even though I have cut your hair even in a wet cut, if it is dangling, it does not serve the shape of your afro, okay? The number one thing that I see with afros is that most curly women do not have shapes, okay? You can have your hair in any level of definition, froey, puffy, frizzy, tightly defined, wash and go, twist out. You can have your hair in any level of definition, no definition to extremely defined. As long as you have a shape, your fro will look great. Okay? So I could go to the salon right now and pick my hair out, and my hair will still have a shape because it's been cut that way. I could go into the salon, I could make my curls perfect, okay? I can make them as tight as they're gonna be, as perfect as they're gonna be, as defined as they're gonna be, and my hair would look great because it's been cut like that, okay? So when a lot of natural women are like, my hair doesn't have a style, I don't know how I feel about my natural hair, it's because the style is the cut. For natural women, your style is your cut. It's not how you curl your hair. Shape is important, okay? Shape is more important than length. Shape is more important than shape, okay? Health and shape, okay? Those are the two things. And so, again, if you're not going to a very experienced stylist, get a blow dry because that's going to be your safest bet. But know that when you're blow drying your hair, you're making all of the hair behave the same. You're making those Michael Jackson curls behave like the Kunta Kinte curls. And I'm probably going to hate that I said this like this, but I want you to get it, okay? So those tight curls have been blown straight and are behaving now just like a looser curl pattern. So when you go to wet the hair, when you go to recurl the hair and define the curl, I'm perfect, thank you. Those curls, one curl is going to hang low and the other curl is going to be tight to the scalp. And you're going to have to pull, the tight curl and you're going to have to push in the loose curl. Okay, so do your research on your stylist and their abilities and their competency. Are they able to cut your hair curly, or do they need to blow dry your hair and cut it? So in that, there are sometimes it's situational. So just like a doctor has to decide, have discernment on who needs what and how to be handle things what way, the same thing goes. The same thing goes with hair. Some people may need to blow dry their hair to see the level of damage because it's not very obvious in its curly state. It all depends on the curl. Some curls be like, oh baby, I'm damaged, okay? And some curls be like, nah, I'm good, but really be damaged, you know? So I hope that's helpful. Over here, you're going to get two cuts. You're going to get a cut and a refinement. You're going to get, if you're coming to me wearing your hair curly, only wear your hair curly, never press your hair, never blow dry your hair. I'm going to cut it wet. I'm going to give you an even trim, an even globe. My cuts are usually universal layers, 90-degree round layers. It's a cosmetology term. So think about how a beach ball looks or a basketball looks. It's going to be a rounded, what I like to call the Jackson 5 fro, okay? That is what I'm going to give people unless they ask for something different. What that means is that your top, just like my hair looks like now, your top is going to be rounded, but the sides and the back are going to be a little tighter and closer to your head, okay? Unless your hair starts to touch your shoulders. It's so many different situations. It's hard to explain. So once I have cut your hair evenly for general purposes, I'm going to then go and style your hair however you want to style. Most of my clients are going to get their hair done in a wash and go or a press, but we're talking about curly style. So a wash and go. Hydrate and define is what I call it. Texture set is what I used to call it. So a curl set. Roller set, use a roller to shape your curl. Curl set, use the curl that grows out your scalp and you set it. Same concept, right? So a curl set is the official term, the proper term for it, but we use terms like hydrate and define or wash and go, but ain't nobody washing and going, okay? I love a great shape on the hair, especially curly, period. I love it. I eat it for breakfast. I'm in the mall. I'm like, oh girl, look at your shape. I'm in Walmart. Oh girl, look at your shape. I just want to cut that mullet off the back. I don't want to cut that duck bill. You got a beautiful fro. You got amazing curls. Your hair has so much potential, but then you got this little cape back here. No, ma'am. Hi, Moni. How's it going? So if you're just coming in, welcome. I'm Jamila Evans. I am a licensed cosmetologist. I have specifically been helping women with curly hair for the past 10 years. It was not my intention. It was bestowed upon me to be the missionary for curly hair. Okay, I am very passionate about it because it is an underserved market. There was a huge void. The reason I have become who I am is because no one was doing it. Okay, I wanted to be a blinder, a bleacher, a lifter. I want to have these girls out here blind. Okay, Beyonce blind and beyond, Pamela Anderson blind and beyond, Baywatch. And I also wanted to cut. I wanted to get paid $100+ for it, just a cut. And I wanted to get paid $300+ for just some color. That's what I wanted. But God and the universe and the market had other plans for me. And so what we're talking about today is just some people have brought up a few things. We've talked about Edge control, if you want to go back and watch this, we also talked about cutting the hair blow dry and stretch versus cutting it curly, which is where we're at now. And then we've also talked about why the hair is curly. We talked about how that actually happens with the opening, the shape of the opening out of the scalp. Okay, so the shape of your scalp hole, for lack of better words, the shape of the follicle opening determines how curly or straight your hair is. Okay. And so once the hair is styled, whatever is giving Michael Jackson and is in fallen shape and is an outlier, or outside of the, okay, so for instance, say this is my shape now, right? You see the round. Say this curl is like this. And this curl's like, yeah, I don't want to behave. I don't want to be here. I cut that hair. It's got to go. It ain't serving your shape. It don't look good, and it's trying to act bad, and we don't want it to act bad. So that's my philosophy on cutting. I hope it was helpful and insightful. I could go deeper, but I'll leave it at that for now. Cool. All right. I have about 20 minutes until I need to be back at the salon. I'm going to finish my beverage. I appreciate you all for coming in and joining me. This is very informal, very rant-ish. And so I hope that it wasn't too like crying on a hill. I hope that you learned something today. In all that I do, I think that education is literally like the solution and the answer. But you know that they say, what do they say? How does the saying go? Knowledge is power. It's not knowledge is not power. Knowledge is insightful. It's not power. Applied knowledge. Have a great day, Chisa. Applied knowledge is power. Okay. So if you're not doing anything with anything that you learned today, okay, if you cannot find a professional in your area that's doing what they need to be doing, travel. Okay. All you need is a proper know-how to take care of your hair at home and a professional cut 4 times a year at a bare minimum. Okay. I have even done virtual cuts with people. I have a client in Abu Dhabi, okay, in the Middle East. I have literally gotten on Zoom and showed her how to use scissors and cut her own hair. I thoroughly enjoyed your live today. Thanks, Esther. Subscribe, girl, if you ain't subscribed. The goal here is to really genuinely help other women who look like me to make sure that you don't have any questions about your hair, the hair that grows out of your scalp. You've been living with your hair all your life. Why don't you know what's going on with it, right? Like honestly, and the saddest thing about it all is that as a person who has been dealing with hundreds, over 1,000 clients, curly hair women in particular, black women in particular, over the past 10 years, we are not using shampoo like we're supposed to. When I say like we're supposed to, shampoo weekly. The answer is always shampoo. My hair is acting bad. My hair ain't behaving. My hair is dry. My scalp, da 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 da. The answer is always shampoo. For the most part, the answer is always shampoo. It's never oil. The answer is never oil. How to prevent them? Can we discuss in your next live, if not already? Prevent what? Tell me. What was I saying? I talk so much, girl. Moni, tell me what I was saying. Yeah. Love on yourselves. Body, mind, spirit. Love on you and love on your hair. If your hair is not doing what you want it to do, if you're not reaching your hair goals, it's because you don't know something. Okay? And you need to ask somebody. Ask me. Or Google. Baby, Google got a lot of information. YouTube got it if you're looking in the right spots. Moni really quickly asked, fairy knots, how do I prevent them? Can we discuss it in your next live? No, we can discuss it right now. I'm gonna finish. This is the last question. Fairy knots, single strand knots, split ends, they all have to do with a lack of trimming. They all have to do with a lack of blunt ends. Okay. So fairy knots and single strand knots happen when the hair is not organized or if the ends are split. or damaged, or just not their best selves, for lack of better words. So what happens is two split ends who are not whole. So we have blunt whole ends. Okay, let's start there. Blunt whole ends. Boom. I'm a strong, sturdy strand. Okay, I got cut, and now everything in me is just completely solid and sealed. A split end is going to do this. Okay, and it might even do this. Okay, so now we're not solid, we're not 100%. This hair is missing something, and it wants to be friends with another strand that looks exactly like this. And what happens is that these strands start to commingle and be friends, and then you out of nowhere got a strand that's a friend with a friend, and they a fairy knot, and more hairs join the bunch, and they have a party at the ends of your hair, and then you got a cluster of knots on one strand, and it's like 5 strands mixed together. That's a fairy knot. It look whimsical. It ain't supposed to look like that, right? That's not what we want. Okay, whimsical is good in certain spaces, but it's not good in your hair. Split ends are hairs that have just frayed, were not cut up high enough, and the split is starting to travel up the hair. And then single strand knots are literally a piece of hair that has tied on itself. Okay, so think of a rope with a knot in the middle. That's what a single strand knot is. All of those things lead to having a harder time detangling your hair. So the main issue is that sometimes we don't want to trim or cut our hair where it needs to actually genuinely be cut. A stylist may communicate or may not communicate, because I'm having conversations. Some stylists aren't having conversations. So they might be like, oh, I want to cut your hair here, but they don't tell you why your hair needs to be cut there or the benefits of it, because those problems are going to continue to remain. Yeah, you cut off 3 inches, but you might have needed 6 inches. I know that sounds aggressive. That was the extreme example. Yeah, they cut off 1.5 inches, but you might have needed 3 to 4 inches cut off. And because you didn't go above the damage, above the knots, above the hair starts to act like Velcro. It starts to be like, I don't want to be, I don't want to slide and slip. I want to be stuck to this other hair because the cuticle is lifted. The hair acts like the natural hair, especially kinkier or tighter hair, begins to act like Velcro. And now we're ripping the hair. We're being really abrasive and aggressive with the hair. And the hair just wants to be treated so delicately. The hair is popping. It's a fiber. It's like fabric. It's like clothing. It's like dealing with silk or linen. It's not wool. Our hair is not wool. Okay, our hair might look aggressive in nature. It might act tough or look tough, but the hair wants to be cared for so gently. Okay, thank you. I really need to get better at keeping up my trims at least once a season. And I say that very bare minimally. In the very beginning, you might have to cut it more often, but eventually, if you're caring for your hair well, you can go like once a season. Eventually. It might take a full year to get to the point where you can cut your hair 3 to 4 times a month. In the very beginning, if you're not willing to lose length, you may have to cut your hair every month. And again, there's caveats to that. There's, more conversation to have. All right, y'all. Thank you so much for the people who have rocked through this whole live. Excuse me. I'm going to get off. I hope that everything was insightful. For the people who are just now coming in, we've talked about why your hair is curly, how it curls. We've talked about edge control and brushing versus combing the edges. Edge brushes are very aggressive. We've talked about cutting the hair. Should we cut the hair blow dry, or we should cut the hair curly or wet? Cutting wet versus cutting dry. We've talked about also hot combs. Ooh, child. We talked about the hot combs. And I have also recently talked about split ends, fairy knots, single strand knots, and just the need for a good trim. All right. I hope this was good. I will talk to you all soon. Thank you so much for tuning in. Subscribe. Look around. There's some playlists. There's a playlist. If y'all are new here, I adore ADHD, so I'm neurospicy, as they call it. I have a playlist on mental health and ADHD. I have a playlist for beauty pros, free game for beauty pros. So if you're new to the industry, you're a licensed cosmetologist or a beauty pro, licensed esthetician, manicurist, anything, there is a whole playlist for game, for for your branding and things of that nature. And then I also have a curl care made simple. So if you are a client or if you are a person who is not in the beauty industry but you want to know how to better care for your hair, I have tons of videos on that. I talk about excessive shedding. I talked about products. I share with you all my wash day, the regimen that I do, why I'm doing it, how to use the product. I'm talking more. I'm not talking surfacey. I want you to get your hair. I want you to know how to work with your hair. I want you to have the best hair that you can have possible. Okay. Oh, I missed it. I'm gonna save it. I'm gonna make sure you watch the replay, Veronica. Thank you, girl. I appreciate you. You're never too late. Okay. The good thing about YouTube is that you can save stuff. So I have a client. I'm gonna head back to the salon and I'm going to finish up for the day. I have two more. I love you all with my whole heart. I really do, genuinely. Some of you all may have never met me in person. I may not ever meet you in person, but your love and your support is very, very real to me. I have twin 3-year olds that just turned 3, and so anything that supports me supports them, and we are wanting to do better for our brown babies. Okay, me and my husband. We fight each and every day to remain in love, to stay in our marriage, to support Langston and Leland, and to make sure that they are two brown little boys who turn into brown little men, young men, grown men who will eventually one day have a family as well as ours. So we appreciate you all, and until next time, y'all. Bye.